The year was 1985. Back to the Future dominated the box office.
The wreck of the Titanic was discovered.
And Coca-Cola changed its recipe. The new Coke was not a hit, and the original formula was brought back less than 3 months later.
And in September 1985, this is what we were watching on the news back then. Hurricane Gloria hit hard and left millions in the New York area without power.
Hurricane Gloria ripped up the East Coast, leaving more than $47 million worth of damage in her wake. And that's an early estimate. Gloria claimed 15 lives in storm-related incidents. Tens of thousands of people are still without telephone service, almost a million still without power. About 400,000 Long Islanders are still in the dark, and Governor Cuomo is looking into Lilco's failure to restore service quickly. Cuomo has appointed a 6-member panel to review Lilco's emergency preparedness to determine whether the utility is living up to its legal responsibility to provide the public with safe and reliable service. Frank Grimes reports from Nassau County now on how Long Islanders are coping.
This is Steamboat Road in Great Neck. Most homes here have been without electricity since Friday afternoon. Madeline and Leon 10 say adjusting to life without it is not easy.
First of all, we have a newborn baby that's going to be 6 weeks, and it's very difficult. First of all, I can't bathe him. It's cold water.
We have a propane stove, which we, from camping.
We have a camping.
Which we use that to heat water up for coffee or tea.
Anticipating Gloria, they loaded up on groceries. Most of it had to be thrown away. And dishes are being washed the old-fashioned way.
No stereo, no TV, no, It's
no
a little boring.
recreation.
At night it's tough because there's no light, outside light either. So it's, it gets pretty dark.
Like most of their neighbors, they're eating takeout food. Others have friends and relatives bringing in ice and hot water. With the street blocked off and no electricity, it's better to visit here in daylight. Not everyone knows this heavily traveled road is blocked off.
So it's been very, very difficult. It's screeching all night long because they're going through the barricades. And, it's really been a nightmare.
Most people we spoke to seem to take the hardship of no power in stride. However, Stephen Tell and some others brought their frustration to Lilco in person.
We were told that there was nothing they could do. They were only assigned 2 crews to work in the area, and none of the crews were qualified to do the overhead line work.
These Lilco employees explained that they were pulled off their office jobs to come out and work 16-hour days. Limited experience doing line work prevents them from tackling the big tasks, but they did restore power to part of this area.
We realize the inconvenience and so forth, but we hope that everybody will be patient, and we're doing our best to get everybody back to service.
Frank Grimes, Channel 5 News.
Connecticut Governor William O'Neill told the White House he'll be asking for federal emergency funds to help with the cleanup. Massive power outages have cut the water supply to hundreds of thousands of homes in Connecticut that use private wells. And markets lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in perishable goods that spoiled when the power went out. Governor O'Neill warned people not to expect business as usual tomorrow. There's too much damage and power will not be restored that quickly. He and federal officials will tour the state to set a dollar figure on the federal aid request. And if you're planning to get back to business as usual tomorrow, well, here's some information that might help you. The Transit Authority says that service will be normal without problems during rush hour, but the Long Island Railroad expects delays of up to an hour. Amtrak will run all scheduled trains, but there may be delays between New York, New Haven, and Boston. Metro North says service is back to normal except for delays on the New Canaan line. And if you've got kids in school and you live in Nassau or Suffolk counties, check your school district before packing that lunchbox. Some Long Island school districts have already said they'll be closed. They're Massapequa, Sable, and SUNY at Old Westbury, Nassau Community College, and Hofstra are open.
Fitness guru Richard Simmons spoke at a Senate panel about children not knowing what to eat to stay healthy.
The government today came out with some basic guidelines on what Americans should eat to stay healthy. The study cost $150,000 and took 2 years to complete, but it says almost exactly the same things a similar report said 5 years ago. They were: avoid too much fat, sugar, or sodium, drink in moderation, eat a variety of foods, and keep your weight down. The last item is a big one for kids. Recent reports show that most American school children are overweight and out of shape. Eric Rabe reports on a Senate hearing about the problem.
American school children are in bad physical shape. Experts say they get too little exercise, they are more and more often overweight, and they are not developing habits that will lead to good health later.
I haven't seen a kid in a tree in years.
Fitness writer Bonnie Pruden told a Senate panel too many parents count on schools to take care of physical fitness for children.
At home, if you move around, he moves around or she moves around. If you take it up by the hand for a walk, it goes for a walk. If you're watching television, that's where it sits.
But there's a growing worry that with tight budgets, schools are not doing their part either. California, for instance, has only 1/4 the physical education teachers it had in 1977. Nationwide, 2 out of 3 children aged 5 to 12 do not have daily physical education.
It's been more than 25 years since the government first worried about the physical condition of young people. In that time, American adults have developed a passion for fitness, but there's evidence fitness of children is even worse.
The statistics are stark. In a recent study of 4 million students, 2 out of every 3 failed to meet basic physical fitness standards. And in another test, more than half the students failed at nearly every school where it was given. A government study last year concluded American young people have become fatter since the 1960s. Richard Simmons, who hosts a television exercise and nutrition program, says young people don't know what to eat.
You know, I had béarnaise sauce in my Rice Krispies in New Orleans. I knew nothing about nutrition, you know? I mean, it was bread, it was butter, it was grease. I mean, the waiters in New Orleans have a crust on the side of their face. Everything is deep fried.
But despite the evidence, there's little chance Congress will do more than point out the problem, hoping parents and local schools will work to solve it.
Gourmet food became a game. In 1985, New Yorkers were asked to test their food knowledge with a new board game.
And speaking of food, there's a new game out for people whose tastes run gourmetish. Steve Powers has the sample.
You know, styles change. Last year, the big game was Trivial Pursuit. And now a big form of entertainment is going out to eat. A yuppateria on every block.
With gourmet eating so popular, it follows that someone would come up with a game for those upwardly mobile eaters who frequent gourmet restaurants. It's Gourmet Challenge, a game that looks very much like Trivial Pursuit. A board, tokens which you move around by answering questions. With the more questions you answer, the better chance of winning. To test the game, we figured we'd go to one of the best gourmet restaurants in the world, Lutece. And who better to answer questions than master chef and owner, Andre Saltner.
To me, gourmet food is food which is very fresh and which is cooked, you know, which is prepared by a chef.
This is a new game, as you know.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be about gourmet challenge, and I wanted to see how you would do in some of the questions because I couldn't answer any of them. Name the ingredients for malt vinegar.
Certainly malt. There is alcohol, certainly. Alcohol, malt.
I think I got to give you a miss on this one. It's mashed potatoes and malted barley. So who was going to know something like this, huh? Where does Cornish pastry originate? Cornish pastry originate.
I don't know what's Cornish pastry.
Well, according to Gourmet Challenge, it's Cornwall, England.
Now, he did answer many questions correctly, but if Monsieur Saltner had trouble with these questions, how do you think you would do? And
to some New Yorkers, gourmet does not mean a fancy restaurant.
Jewish soul food is gourmet food. Kishka, matzo ball soup, pierogan, that's gourmet food.
For me, pizza is gourmet food, heroes are gourmet food, I'm a real New Yorker. I'm good Italian food.
If you had a choice between a fancy French meal
and a
pastrami sandwich,
I would go to the fancy French meal.
Surprise me.
You know why?
Why?
Because I have this here every day.
I decided to ask the owner of the Carnegie, deli maven Leo Steiner, some questions from the gourmet game.
According to Amy Vanderbilt, a martini should always be what?
According to Amy Vanderbilt, a martini should be what? Listen, let me tell you something. I don't know what kind of food Amy Vanderbilt ate, but to me, better than a martini with all that stinking of booze and everything in it is a good bottle of celery tonic. That is a wet appetizer for me.
Well, the way styles change so fast, maybe next year the big game will be Deli Challenge.
And finally, here's what the weather looked like September 24th, 1985.
Lynn, anything suspicious about our weather? Unfortunately, John, a lot suspicious about our weather. Good evening, everyone. Henri, just an afterthought as of now. This tropical storm that gave us some rain today is now pushing northward, not posing any threat to us. What is posing a threat to us? The storm to the south of us, a major hurricane. This is Hurricane Gloria. Gloria is now about 670 miles southeast of Miami, Florida. Right now, on a scale of 1 to 5, this is a stage 4 hurricane. Very serious hurricane system. It is going to veer northward, northwestward, yes. It could affect us by the end of the week. So far, the wind's up to 140 miles per hour. We will definitely keep you posted on this storm system. Meantime, as for our high temperature today, right on target for the normal high, 74 degrees, and the low, 68. Right now, it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's 21 Celsius. Humidity up to 84%. That's why it's so sticky out there. Obviously, winds out of the northwest at 8 miles per hour. The barometer rising, and we do have partly cloudy skies that you can see on our satellite photo. Those clouds going off the coast by tomorrow. Why? We have a high pressure system moving in. The high gives us the sunshine, but only for one day. By Thursday, different story. Clouds and the rain coming in on this system, but again, all eyes focused on Gloria. Friday, our target date for this system if it runs on course. Meantime, in the forecast for tonight, we're calling for clearing skies, but it will be turning cooler this evening. 57 degrees in the suburbs, 62 here in the city. Tomorrow morning, partly sunny and cool, 62 degrees. Sunrise tomorrow, 6:46. Sunset, if you're out and about, 6:49. Here's the 5-day forecast for you. For tomorrow, sunshine, enjoy it, because by Thursday, things do begin to turn cloudy. Then by Friday, could get serious around here. Rainy, cloudy, breezy. We could also be feeling the effects of Hurricane Gloria then. 70 degrees on Friday, and for Saturday and Sunday, windy and cool, 68 degrees. And if you know anyone in Des Moines, Iowa, or Minneapolis, know the story in both of those cities, also in the northern Rockies. If you want some skiing, head in that direction. Have a good night.
And that was the news then.